rescue my soul from the sword, my life from the grip of these dogs. Save me from the jaws of lions, my soul from the horns of oxen. I will tell of your name to my household, and praise you where they are assembled. They divided my garments among them, and for my vesture they cast lots.
Het. God has resolved to destroy the walls of the daughter of Zion, stretching out the line, not staying his hand, until he has engulfed everything, thus bringing mourning on wall and rampart. Alike they crumbled. Tet. Her gates have sunk into the ground. He has broken and shattered their bars. Her king and her princes are among the Gentiles. There is no instruction. Furthermore, her prophets cannot find any vision from God. Yod. Mute they sit on the ground, the elders of the daughter of Zion. They have put dust on their heads and wrapped themselves in sackcloth. The young girls of Jerusalem bow their heads to the ground. Calf. My eyes are worn out with weeping. My inmost being is in ferment. My heart plummets at the destruction of my young people, as the children and babies grow faint in the streets of the city. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, return to the Lord your God. Lamed. They keep saying to their mothers, "Where is some food?" as they faint like wounded people in the streets of the city, as they breathe their last on their mother's breasts. Men, to what can I compare or liken you, daughter of Jerusalem? Who can rescue and comfort you, young daughter of Zion? For huge as the sea is your ruin. Who can heal you? Noon. The visions your prophets had for you were deceptive whitewash. They did not lay bare your guilt so as to change your fortunes. The visions they told you were deceptive. Samek, all who pass your way clap their hands at the sight. They whistle and shake their heads over the daughter of Jerusalem. Is this the city they call perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole world? Jerusalem, Jerusalem, return to the Lord your God.
The curtain of the temple was torn, and the whole earth trembled. The thief cried out from the cross, "Remember me, Lord, when you come into your kingdom." The rocks were rent and the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep arose. And the whole earth trembled. The thief cried out from the cross, "Remember me, Lord, when you come into your kingdom."
Aleph. I am the man familiar with misery, under the rod of his fury. He has led and guided me into darkness, not light. Against none but me does he turn his hand, again and again, all day. Bet. He has wasted my flesh and skin away, has broken my bones. He has besieged me and made hardship, a circlet round my head. He has forced me to dwell where all is dark, like those long dead in their everlasting home. Gimel. He has walled me in so that I cannot escape. He has weighed me down with chains. Even when I shout for help, he shouts out my prayer. He has closed my way with blocks of stone. He has obstructed my paths. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, return to the Lord your God.
chosen vine, I planted you. How could you turn out bitter, that you should crucify me and release Barabbas? I spaded you, I cleared you of stones. I built a watchtower in order to protect you. How
Look, my servant will prosper, will grow great, will rise to great heights. As many people were aghast at him, he was so inhumanly disgraced that he no longer looked like a man. So many nations will be astonished, and kings will stay tight-lipped before him, seeing what had never been told them, learning what they had not heard before. Who has given credence to what we have heard? And who has seen in the revelation of Yahweh's arm? Like a sapling, he grew up before him, like a shoot in arid ground. He had no form or charm to attract us, no beauty to win our hearts. He was despised, the lowest of men, a man of sorrows, familiar with suffering, one from whom, as it were, we averted our gaze, despised, for whom we had no regard. Yet ours were the sufferings he was bearing, ours the sorrows he was carrying, while we thought of him as someone being punished and struck with affliction by God, whereas he was being wounded for our rebellion, crushed because of our guilt. The punishment reconciling us fell on him, and we had been healed by his bruises. We had all gone astray like sheep, each taking his own way, and Yahweh brought the acts of rebellion of all of us to bear on him. Ill-treated and afflicted, he never opened his mouth. Like a lamb led to the slaughterhouse, like a sheep dumb before his shearers, he never opened his mouth. Forcibly, after sentence, he was taken. Which of his contemporaries was concerned at his having been cut off from the land of the living, at his having been struck dead for his people's rebellion? He was given a grave with the wicked, and his tomb is with the rich, although he had done no violence, had spoken no deceit. It was Yahweh's good pleasure to crush him with pain. If he gives his life as a sin offering, he will see his offspring and prolong his life, and through him Yahweh's good pleasure will be done. After the ordeal he has endured, he will see the light and be content. By his knowledge, the upright one, my servant, will justify many by taking their guilt on himself. Hence, I shall give him a portion with the many, and he will share the booty with the mighty, for having exposed himself to death, and for being counted as one of the rebellious, whereas he was bearing the sin of many and interceding for the rebellions.
me so wretched and poor, God regards me kindly. You are my salvation, my help. Do not delay, my God. Let those be put to shame and confusion who seek to snatch away my life.
For every high priest chosen from among human beings is appointed to act on their behalf in relation to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. A high priest can deal gently with the ignorant and wayward, since a high priest is also beset with weakness. Because of this, high priests are bound to offer sacrifice for their own sins, as well as for those of the people. And one does not take the honor upon one's self, but is called by God, just as Aaron was. So also Christ did not claim the exalted office of high priest, but was appointed to it by the one who said, "You are my child. Today I have begotten you," as is said also in another place, "You are a priest forever, after the order of Melchizedek." While in the flesh, Jesus offered up prayers and supplications with loud cries and tears to the one who was able to save him from death. And Jesus was heard for his godly fear. Son though he was, Jesus learned obedience through suffering, and being made perfect, became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him. Having been designated by God a high priest after the order of Melchizedek.
Lord my God, I call for help by day. I cry at night before you. Lord my God, hear my prayer. Oh, turn your ear to my cry. For my soul is filled with evils.
Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but for yourselves and for your children. The women who came to the execution of Jesus, the daughters of Jerusalem, were not the same as the women from Galilee with whom we are more familiar. They may have been women who listened to Jesus in better times. In any case, they wept. They raised a wail of death for Jesus, and Jesus turned to them and raised a wail for Jerusalem, for the women and their children. Some scholars say that Jesus is, by these words, predicting the fall of Jerusalem, but he points far beyond any one event. He points to the suffering of us all, to the power and oppression that will cause desolation again and again, to the shattering of human lives, the deep piercing of individuals' hearts by swords of sorrow, the violence pressed against groups and whole societies, the long anguish of emptiness in individual spirits, the disease and diminishment that attacks persons and cultures. Jesus spoke of the suffering of the future because he truly grieved for these women and their children. In the midst of his suffering, attention was paid to them. But more than this, and within it and under it, lies a deeper mystery. The suffering of Jesus Christ is one with the suffering of generations to follow. Perhaps we understand better than the daughters of Jerusalem that the meaning of the suffering and death of Jesus Christ reaches down through the centuries, touching not only the suffering of these women's children, but our own, giving to it all a new meaning and a different potential. If the doctrine of the mystical body means anything at all, it means that Jesus is mysteriously identified with human persons across time and place, and that we have a new reality by reason of his holding us in relation to God while remaining one with us in our continued suffering. To the extent that we understand our own solidarity with all human persons and the implication of the incarnation of Jesus Christ for that solidarity, to that extent we hear Jesus' words today not finally as, "Do not weep for me," but "Weep for me in the person of your sisters and brothers." However we understand the laying down of Jesus' life as a surrender, we know that it is not a surrender to the forces of evil. It opposes them unto death. This time it is a text that is not past to the event of Jesus' death, but future to it. It is the texts which tell of the New Testament experience of the rest of the story of Jesus' death. In these texts, women and men have heard of a death that held in itself a future, a death that led to a mysterious undoing of death. The darkness of death cannot be avoided, and ultimate powerlessness before the pull of dying cannot be taken away. There are tears of which we shall die. Yet in such weeping, our hearts may finally be broken, so that our existence is new, and a joy that is eternally sorrow-consoled may allow us to embrace not only ourselves and our children, but a new future for all reality. If we can live on such an inkling, then we can hear the words of hope whispered and sung to those who wail through the centuries. To Rachel, weeping for her children, but hearing finally the word, "There is hope for your descendants." We can understand the action of Jesus Christ, choosing freely to be with us and to lay down his life for us. We can believe thus that no one need suffer alone. We can even choose still to bear children, hoping against hope in the face of apocalyptic futures. We can do all of this because we are allowed to see the light of mercy in the shadow of death and nothingness, the light in a mercy that is otherwise darkness to us, that lets bodies be destroyed, minds ravaged, spirits crushed, and does not hinder the cry, "Why hast thou forsaken me?" By such seeing, we catch a glimpse of light, a glimpse of the fullness of light in the bitter pain of Jesus Christ, whose passion, like our own sometimes, seemed so filled with futility, with senselessness, with the unnecessary cutting off of something in the beginnings of its promise. Only by such seeing may we understand even now, when the pain is softened by the centuries, the light and the sweetness in that pain that has filled the world with a possibility of light and sweetness ever since. So Jesus calls us to weep for him, but in him, for all of us, to blend our lives by our tears, to live our tears in our action. If in this or any time our hearts are too dry for tears, then we may ask for what Catherine of Siena called the tears of fire, whereby the Spirit of God weeps in us, and the fire of love and the waters of life are one. us, God's holy ones in days of old, announced the promised one would come. Yes, our God keeps faith with us forever, never forgetting the covenant of gracious love. A solemn oath was sworn to Sarah and Abraham, that we should be set free from every fear. We have been sworn to worship God with peaceful hearts, in holiness and justice all our days. And you, little child, shall go before the Christ, a voice that cries, prepare the way for God. And heralds gospel news to longing hearts, the promised one of God is near at hand. For in the tender compassion of our loving God, the sun of justice shall rise in the eastern skies, to shine on all who dwell in dark despair, and guide us all into the paths of peace. Over his head they hung their accusation, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews.
Christ, for our sake, became obedient to death, even to death on a cross.